Alright my friend, as you probably know, especially because we've shown plenty of examples, the world of pet ownership isn't as simple as it seems. While many people prefer traditional pets like dogs, cats, or maybe an adorable guinea pig, some seek something strange, exotic, or downright bizarre. From the enormous slithering companion to the unusual household hippo, here are 19 pets you won't believe actually exist. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel and leave your like. Now let's get started. Number 1. Hyenas as unusual pets. The idea of keeping hyenas as pets sparks curiosity, fascination, and controversy all at once. For some, it represents an exotic challenge and a status symbol. For others, it's an unnecessary and even irresponsible risk. After all, can these animals, known for their unmistakable laugh and reputation as opportunistic predators, really coexist in harmony inside a human home? The myth and the reality of hyenas have carried a mixed reputation throughout history. In many African cultures, they are seen as symbols of cunning, resilience, and even bad luck. In movies and cartoons, they've earned a reputation as comical or treacherous villains. But in real life, hyenas are highly intelligent, social animals organized in complex clans led by dominant females. It's precisely this social intelligence that sparks curiosity among enthusiasts. If they can cooperate in groups, couldn't they also be trained to live with humans just as dogs and cats were domesticated in the past? The short answer is, not exactly. While it is possible to raise a hyena from a cub and form strong bonds with it, that's not the same as domestication. Dogs, for instance, went through thousands of years of selective breeding. Hyenas, on the other hand, remain wild by nature. The challenges of training experts in hyena management point out that the biggest obstacle is human patience. Unlike dogs, which respond well to positive reinforcement and learn tricks relatively quickly, hyenas learn more slowly and constantly test their handlers' limits. They are incredibly stubborn. They have jaws capable of crushing bones with ease, which already says a lot about the risks of poor handling. They may display dominant behaviors, requiring the handler to have a deep understanding of animal ethology. In short, anyone venturing into this path must have years of experience with wild fauna, far beyond simply liking animals. The question of diet. Another challenge is diet. In the wild, hyenas feed on a complex diet that includes fresh meat, bones, which they crush to extract calcium and nutrients, organs, and even leftovers from other predators' kills. This can't be substituted with dog food or table scraps. Keeping a hyena healthy in captivity requires a specialized nutritional plan and a significant financial investment. Space and environmental needs. Raising a hyena in a small apartment in New York or Sao Paulo would be a disaster. These animals need wide spaces to run, explore, and exercise. Confinement leads to stress, aggression, and even self-harm. The ideal setup would resemble a sanctuary: large open areas, constant environmental enrichment, and freedom to express natural behaviors like digging, hunting toys, and social interaction. Legal and ethical considerations. Owning hyenas as pets is illegal in many regions. Where it's not prohibited, it usually requires special permits, inspections, and strict safety protocols. But the issue goes beyond law. There's the ethical debate. Is it fair to keep a wild animal with such specific needs in a domestic environment just for human whim? Many experts argue the answer is no. Hyenas belong in their natural habitat where they play their ecological role as predators and scavengers. Real cases and curious stories. Despite the challenges, there are reports of people keeping hyenas. In parts of Nigeria and Ethiopia, groups known as the hyena men train and display hyenas in cultural shows, walking them through the streets like oversized dogs. Online videos show hyenas being hand-fed, even displaying affection toward their handlers. However, there are also records of serious accidents, bites, and escapes, reinforcing the risks. Comparison with other exotic animals. Compared to big cats, primates, or wolves, hyenas are among the hardest animals to adapt to human companionship. While some tigers or chimpanzees can, with limitations, live for years in zoos and even interact with keepers, hyenas combine physical strength, cunning intelligence, and wild instinct, making the task even more challenging. Conclusion: having a hyena as a pet is not impossible, but it's far from practical, and in many cases it's dangerous and even cruel. They are not domesticated animals. They require space, diet, and specialized care, and they raise serious legal and ethical concerns. If you're looking for a loyal and safe companion, a dog is still your best choice. But if your fascination lies with hyenas, perhaps the most responsible path is to support conservation projects, visit sanctuaries, and learn more about these incredible predators in their natural habitat, cultural history, and symbolism. Hyenas are not just fascinating from a biological standpoint, they also carry deep cultural and symbolic weight, especially in Africa and Asia, where they have coexisted with humans for millennia. Understanding this dimension is key to grasping why some people still dream of keeping them as pets, while others view them as cursed creatures. Hyenas in African mythology. In many African cultures, hyenas appear in myths, legends, and proverbs. To some peoples, they symbolize cunning, cleverness, and opportunism. To others, they are linked to supernatural forces, seen as spirit messengers, or even as witches in animal form. In traditional tales, the hyena is often the trickster, trying to take advantage but ending up fooled in the end. This ambiguous view between respect and distrust explains why some communities still maintain a near mystical relationship with them, the hyena men of Nigeria. One of the best known examples is the group called the Hyena Men of Nigeria. These men travel from city to city with chained hyenas, along with snakes and baboons, showcasing their strength and control over the animals. To audiences, the spectacle is both terrifying and mesmerizing. For the Hyena Men, it's a means of survival and of keeping alive a cultural tradition blending human dominance, bravery, and spirituality. Many scholars say this practice stems from old beliefs that owning or controlling a hyena granted protection and prestige to the community. Hyenas in ancient Egypt and the Middle East. In ancient Egypt, hyenas were known and even hunted for their meat. Some artistic depictions show hyenas being offered as tribute, but they were never truly domesticated like cats or dogs. In medieval Middle Eastern texts, Arab writers described hyenas as dangerous creatures, capable of hypnotizing people with their eyes before attacking, a belief that reinforced their reputation as mysterious animals. Negative symbolism in Europe. When hyenas entered European accounts, their image became even darker. In the Middle Ages, they were portrayed as aberrations of nature, associated with graveyards and macabre practices. Many believe they dug up graves to eat corpses, linking them to imagery of desecration and death. This European stigma echoes today. Think of how many movies or cartoons depict hyenas as malicious or cowardly creatures. The contrast between culture and reality. Despite the heavy symbolism, the truth is that hyenas are highly adapted animals. They are neither monsters nor spirits, but intelligent predators playing a vital ecological role. Still, this cultural backdrop explains why some people seek to tame them. Controlling a hyena can be seen as a sign of power, courage, or even personal magic. Hyenas in modern media. If in the past hyenas carried symbolic weight, swinging between respect and fear, in modern times their image has been amplified and distorted by media, especially movies, cartoons, and the internet. This has reinforced prejudices, but also sparked curiosity in new generations. The impact of The Lion King, perhaps the most famous modern portrayal of hyenas, is Disney's The Lion King, 1994. There they appear as cowardly, sneaky, and comical creatures led by Scar. For millions of children worldwide, this was their first impression of hyenas. The problem, the film cemented a stigma, hyenas as natural villains, without nuance. Animal behavior scholars even criticize Disney, claiming this caricature harmed the image of an ecologically essential animal that keeps savannas clean by consuming carcasses and controlling herbivore populations. Documentaries and the push for rehabilitation over time. Documentaries from channels like National Geographic and BBC began to present a fairer picture of hyenas, showcasing their social intelligence, rivaling that of primates, explaining their matriarchal organization with females dominating males, highlighting their hunting techniques, dispelling the myth that they are just scavengers. These programs helped balance the narrative, but the cultural stigma is still too strong to vanish in a single generation. Hyenas in the internet age. Today, the internet has brought a new wave of attention to hyenas. Viral YouTube and TikTok videos show hyenas interacting with humans, often in controlled settings by trainers or zoos. These clips fuel the idea that perhaps hyenas could be tamed, sparking curiosity and fascination. At the same time, videos of hyenas in underground fights or chained in African villages reveal the darker side of exploitation. The internet has thus polarized the view. To some, hyenas are cool, exotic pets. To others, they remain dangerous beasts. Influencers and the exotic fetish. Another curious factor is how influencers showcasing unusual animals on social media end up romanticizing hyena ownership. Clips of people petting tame hyenas attract millions of views. This creates the false impression that courage and affection alone can tame a predator. Experts warn that many such videos are edited, with animals possibly under mild sedation, deprivation, or harsh training. The modern fascination with the exotic has turned hyenas into viral icons, but rarely shows the full reality. The paradox of modern fame, modern media has left hyenas in a paradoxical spot, hated by some due to their villain caricature, admired by others as symbols of strength, intelligence, and resilience, desired as pets by those enchanted with the mystique of the unusual. In the end, media has only intensified the myth, fueling both fantasies and fears, while leaving the central question unresolved. Can hyenas truly be domesticated? Intelligence comparable to primates. Studies by universities such as Duke and Michigan have shown that hyenas possess highly developed social intelligence comparable to primates. They can solve group problems, like opening boxes or coordinating hunts. They learn quickly, even by observing others. They communicate with complex vocal signals, such as laughs and whoops, which convey hierarchy, status, and intentions. This means hyenas, like dogs, have great learning potential. But unlike dogs, shaped by human domestication, hyenas use their intelligence for competition and survival in the wild. Matriarchal social structure. One of the most fascinating aspects is that hyenas live in clans of up to 80 individuals, led by dominant females. Females are larger, more aggressive, and hold positions of power. Males, even as adults, remain lower in the hierarchy. Internal disputes are frequent but structured, and those born at the top usually stay there. Compared to dogs, dogs were selected to obey and cooperate with humans. Hyenas evolved to challenge and negotiate positions within the clan, so if a handler tried to impose authority on a hyena, they'd likely be treated as a rival, not as a leader. Powerful diet and metabolism. Hyenas are known as opportunistic predators and voracious consumers. Their bite is among the strongest in the animal kingdom, capable of crushing thick bones. Their digestive system can process almost everything: meat, bones, skin, cartilage. In captivity, providing such a diet is extremely costly and logistically complex. Unlike dogs, which adapted to varied diets including human scraps, hyenas cannot survive on regular pet food. Improper feeding would quickly lead to serious health issues. Direct comparison with dogs. Domestication. Dogs have over 15,000 years of coexistence with humans. Hyenas, none. Hierarchy. Dogs accept human leadership. Hyenas live to test limits. Personality. Dogs range from gentle to protective. Hyenas remain instinctively wild. Nutrition. Dogs adapt easily to prepared food. Hyenas require whole prey. Space. Dogs can live in homes and yards. Hyenas need vast areas like reserves. The scientific verdict: science shows that hyenas are not only highly intelligent, but also stubborn, unpredictable, and territorial. Their biology is incompatible with domestic life. Attempts to raise hyenas like dogs end in frustration, as the animal never abandons its wild instincts. Even when raised from cubs, they remain dangerous predators, extremely difficult to manage. In summary, while science admires hyenas, Number 2. The domestic puma. If you're expecting stories of big cats finding homes in unexpected places, you're in luck. Let's begin with the story of a puma. Not an older, attractive woman, but a real wild feline. In 2016, Alexander Dmitriev and his wife, Maria, decided to adopt a young puma named Messi and raise him in their small apartment in Penza, Russia. At first, this might sound like an unwise decision, since large animals usually don't thrive in confined spaces, unlike dogs, which are still much smaller than pumas. To manage this unusual situation, the couple established a structured routine for Messi, ensuring he was well cared for and didn't cause significant damage. Messi's diet includes turkey, beef, chicken breast, and some bones, served twice a day. Messi quickly became popular on social media, gaining a huge following on Instagram and more than 2 million views on YouTube in a short time, turning him into a local celebrity. This trend of turning exotic pets into social media stars has become increasingly common, as owners owners seek ways to share their unique companions with the world. Raising a puma like Messi in a small apartment, however, required major adjustments and compromises. The couple had to adapt their home to prevent damage and ensure both their safety and Messi's. Regular exercise was crucial, so they took him out for walks just like a dog, giving him the physical activity he needed. This unusual sight often attracted the attention and curiosity of neighbors and passers-by, adding to Messi's local fame. Messi's story also highlights the broader issue of exotic pet ownership, which comes with significant responsibilities and ethical considerations. Pumas are wild animals with natural instincts that can be challenging to manage in a domestic environment. While Messi seems to be thriving under Alexander and Maria's care, not all exotic pet stories have happy endings. Their dedication and unique approach offer a glimpse into the complexities of living with such a powerful and majestic animal. Number 3, the baby crocodile adventure. Now, I have another crocodile story to share later, but let's start with this one. You might expect it to end badly for the child involved. Surprisingly, it doesn't. Crocodiles, once considered adorable and exotic pets alongside alligators, were popular until they grew too big to handle and were often released, especially in Indonesia, the setting of our story. Attitudes toward crocodiles here are more relaxed, and in this case, a small child could interact with a 4.5-foot crocodile without danger. The family didn't buy the crocodile as an adult, they got it when it was still very small, but crocodiles grow quickly, and before long, the family had a reptile bigger than their child. Still, the child played with it safely. Interestingly, she wasn't just interacting with the crocodile, she was completely fearless and loved getting close to it. Her family found it charming and even hoped she might become an animal handler someday. Imagine her future job interview. Are you good with animals? Here's a picture of me with my pet crocodile. That would certainly impress any potential employer. Beyond being a playful companion, the crocodile also provided a unique learning experience for the child. Her interactions with the reptile could help her develop a deep respect and understanding of wildlife from an early age. Crocodiles, known for their powerful jaws and quick movements, usually inspire fear. Yet this child's relationship with her pet could help open people's minds to more positive perceptions of these ancient creatures. This unusual bond might even inspire others to consider the potential for peaceful coexistence between humans and wild animals, so long as precautions and respect for their nature are maintained. Number 4, the perilous adventures of Henry the koala. Don't let their cute appearance fool you. Koalas should never be underestimated. Feeding exclusively on eucalyptus leaves, these marsupials carry toxins in their diet as a natural defense against predators. A surprising fact about such seemingly harmless creatures. Despite the dangers hidden in their eating habits, humans often ignore the risks because of their undeniable cuteness. Henry, for example, was a koala whose life was full of danger from the very start. Separated from his parents at a young age and exposed to peril, Henry's fate hung by a thread until a compassionate individual stepped in. Through multiple rescues and interventions, Henry's story became one of survival against the odds. His journey is a moving reminder of the importance of human intervention in preserving and protecting vulnerable species. Number 5, the unconventional pet crocodile. Koek, in the modest backyard of a home in Indonesia, lives an unusual resident, Koek the crocodile. In most parts of the world, such a situation would quickly lead to animal authorities stepping in. Yet in this household, Koek's presence is no cause for alarm. Under the care of Erwin and his family, this crocodile has become an integral part of their daily lives. Imagine a backyard scene where a crocodile peacefully shares the space with clotheslines and children's games. It's a true testament to harmonious coexistence between humans and reptiles. Despite the inherent danger crocodiles pose, Koek has lived with the family for more than 2 decades without harming anyone, except for one unfortunate incident involving a cat. While the idea of having a pet crocodile might sound appealing to some, the ability to manage such a creature remains a daunting challenge. For Erwin and his family, however, it's a challenge they've mastered gracefully, earning admiration from many. These touching stories of companionship between humans and crocodiles defy expectations and deserve recognition. Number 6, the unexpected rescue of a wild boar in St. Hollers. Finding someone with a pet pig isn't unusual, but stumbling upon a couple who chose to adopt a 100-pound wild boar? Now that's a story worth telling. This particular boar wasn't sought out as a quirky addition to the family. It was a rescue mission born of compassion. Found abandoned in the forest, malnourished and near death, its fate changed drastically when this caring couple took it in. Under their care, the wild animal began displaying surprisingly dog-like behavior. Imagine a boar willingly lying down on the porch steps at its owner's request. It's a striking example of the unique bonds that can form between humans and wild creatures. Truly, the world is full of unexpected connections. Number 7. The tempting tiger tali tigers, the ultimate status symbol for exotic animal enthusiasts. But as Joe Exotic learned the hard way, raising these majestic creatures is far from fun and games. Sure, they're stunning animals, but they're also wild predators with instincts that can't be tamed. Ask anyone who's been on the wrong side of a tiger's claw. Yet despite the risks, some people will go to extreme lengths to have a tiger cub in their lives. After all, who needs common sense when you've got a cute tiger cub, right? From shady deals to downright foolish tricks. Yes, I'm looking at you, suitcase tiger. Some people will stop at nothing to make their tiger dreams come true. But don't say I didn't warn you when things turn wild. Adding to the discussion, it's crucial to recognize the ethical and legal implications of keeping tigers as pets. Beyond immediate safety concerns, the exotic animal trade fuels wildlife exploitation and threatens endangered species. Responsible stewardship of tigers means supporting conservation efforts and advocating for policies that ban private ownership, ensuring these magnificent animals can survive in their natural habitats. Number 8. The cheetah companions. Fast and sleek, you'd think that any story about big cats would feature lions or tigers, right? Well, think again. Meet Milan and Kaya, siblings with a pair of unlikely companions, cheetahs Waku and Skyla. These aren't your average pets. Agile and powerful, Waku and Skyla were raised alongside Milan and Kaya from the time they were cubs. Talk about a wild childhood, but here's the twist. They weren't simply taken from the wild. Instead, they came from a hunting lodge in South Africa, where Milan and Kaya's parents decided to give them a forever home, a perfect match made in safari heaven. Despite their wild beginnings, Waku and Skyla adapted surprisingly well to domestic life, even enjoying rides in the family's mini Jeep. And while Milan and Kaya know they can't keep their cheetah friends forever, they're committed to preparing them with the skills they'll need to thrive in the wild when the time comes. Expanding on conservation, Milan and Kaya's dedication to educating others about cheetah preservation highlights the importance of protecting wild habitats and safeguarding endangered species. By sharing their experiences with Waku and Skyla, they raise awareness of the challenges cheetahs face and inspire action to secure their future. Number 9. The cozy brown bear. Now, imagine this. It's winter, and you're craving some warmth. What do? Snuggle up in blankets, light a fire, maybe sip some hot chocolate. Sounds cozy, right? Well, not for Span, and not everyone's idea of warmth involves blankets and hot cocoa. For Yuri and Pental Linko, warmth means cuddling up with a 10,000-pound brown bear. Talk about living on the edge. But wait, it gets even stranger. This isn't just any bear. This guy stands over 2 meters tall, and despite his intimidating size, he's as gentle as a teddy bear. Yuri found an unlikely friend in this giant who's more interested in cuddles than chaos. Sure, it's unusual, but hey, if they're happy and unharmed, who are we to judge? Expanding on the dynamic between humans and bears, it's important to note the rigorous training and deep bond required to build trust. Contrary to popular belief, bears are highly intelligent and capable of forming strong emotional connections with their human caregivers when raised in a nurturing environment. However, this bond demands constant reinforcement and respect for the bear's natural instincts to ensure a safe, harmonious relationship. Number 10. The wolf dog. Ever heard of a wolf dog? It's exactly what it sounds like. A mix between a wild wolf and a domestic dog. Sounds cool, right? Well, maybe not so much when you consider their unpredictable nature. Sure, they can be fiercely loyal and protective, but let's not forget their wild roots. When push comes to shove, they're not afraid to unleash their wolf side, which can spell trouble for unsuspecting visitors. Here's the catch. Wolf dogs aren't exactly welcomed everywhere. In fact, some countries have outright banned them due to safety concerns. Can you blame them? These animals can be unpredictable, and not everyone is prepared for the challenge of raising one. Still, despite the risks, some people are willing to take the gamble and bring wolf dogs into their homes. Call it bravery or pure madness, but for those who dare, it's a truly wild journey. Adding to the complexity of wolf dog ownership, it's crucial to understand their unique behavioral traits, which stem from their wild and domestic ancestry. Wolf dogs often display a strong prey drive and territorial instincts inherited from their wolf lineage, making them challenging pets for inexperienced owners. On top of that, their complex social structures require careful management to avoid behavioral issues. Number 11. The sloth, relaxed and laid back. Let's dive into the world of sloths. These creatures are the undisputed kings of relaxation, spending their lives high up in the treetops taking it slow. It's a lifestyle many envy, but some can't resist poking fun at their sluggish ways. Not Terry and Kig though. They proudly call themselves the parents of Enzo, a sloth with a knack for living life in the slow lane. You might wonder, why would anyone want a sloth as a pet? Well, the Kegs had been fascinated by sloths for a long time. Maybe it was their quirky charm, or maybe they just wanted a break from the usual pets. Whatever the reason, one thing's certain: caring for a sloth isn't for the faint of heart. Creating the perfect environment for a sloth requires serious effort. These creatures have very specific needs to ensure their well-being. But hey, the Kegs were up for the challenge. It's also worth noting that while sloths are slow, they're not helpless. When they need to, they can channel their one-punch man side, delivering a surprisingly powerful hit when you least expect it. Looking deeper into sloth care, their diet is highly specialized, mainly leaves, buds, and tender shoots. These picky eaters need a constant supply of fresh foliage, which is a unique challenge for their human caretakers. Their digestive systems are also uniquely adapted to break down tough cellulose, a process that can take several days to complete. Number 12. Rondu the reindeer. Now, don't go thinking all reindeer are cheerful friends straight out of a Christmas movie. Those antlers aren't just for decoration, and sometimes they're not too interested in making friends. Meet Atu, a reindeer with quite a story to tell. Abandoned in the cold lands of Finland, he was all alone until a kind-hearted child found him. Fast forward a few years, and Atu ended up under the care of a woman named Conan. Thanks to her dedication, Atu went from a lonely stray to a regular at the family dinner table, literally eating from a plate like a civilized guest. That's what you call a transformation. Just hope he doesn't decide to play chicken with your car at high speeds. Number 13. The animal refuge. Let's switch things up a bit. Not just one unusual pet, but a whole yard full of them. Welcome to the Animal Refuge, home to more than 90 wild animals under one roof. And who's behind this wild adventure? Meet Dr. Chat and his partner in crime, Mandini. Their mission: to create a sanctuary for furry and scaly friends alike. A pretty noble cause, and their efforts have earned them recognition as a rescue shelter since 1991. So what's inside this DIY zoo? Get ready for jackals, leopards, hyenas, porcupines, a crocodile, and even some peacocks. It all started when Dr. Parr noticed locals hunting animals for food, even kidnapping their young. Not cool. So he struck a deal: spare the babies, and he'd trade food instead. It began with a little monkey and grew from there. While this backyard menagerie might not be everyone's cup of tea, it's undeniably exciting. No wonder kids especially love it. It's like living in a storybook. Cheers to happier animals and a kinder world. Number 14, the dog-like iguana. Iguanas probably don't top your list of dangerous pets, but don't count them out as harmless either. Usually they're more like little lizards, not much of a threat. That brings us to a remarkable video you might find surprising. An iguana living in someone's backyard, behaving exactly like a dog. When the owner comes home and calls, "Come here, buddy," the iguana runs up enthusiastically to greet him. It's impressive to see an iguana acting this lively, since they're usually only active when hunting or defending themselves. Watching one act like a dog is pretty special. If you remember that earlier video, these lizards actually seemed happy to mimic canine behavior. I'd love to know the training regimen for that iguana. Might just be the secret to making a fortune. And no, I'm not completely joking. Number 15, owls as pets. Having an owl as a pet isn't as rare as you'd think. Harry Potter made it look pretty cool, right? Here's a real-life example of a young girl and her snowy owl sharing a close bond. In one video, you can see them hugging and even kissing, with the owl looking perfectly comfortable at home. The girl shows obvious affection, and the owl seems to respond positively. But why can owls be dangerous pets if they look so adorable? It all depends on how they're raised. Try approaching a wild owl and you're asking for trouble. They're extremely territorial and have even attacked and sometimes killed intruders near their nests. Luckily, this girl's snowy owl doesn't hurt her, which is number 16. The pet kangaroo. Kangaroos are fascinating creatures to watch on TV or from a safe distance. But up close, they can kick you into next week without a second thought. So who would keep one as a pet? The answer, someone who found a baby kangaroo and raised it. Enter Australian comedian Jackson Odar, who rescued a baby kangaroo from a rural highway near Sydney when it was just a few weeks old. He named it Damian, and now they're inseparable. Damian even chases Jackson along the beach for fun. Jackson has shared plenty of adorable videos with his young kangaroo, but make no mistake, things would be very different if he had tried this with an adult kangaroo. Number 17, living with a lion. Now, let's talk about a male lion who happens to be a true couch lover. A man in Pakistan bought a lion cub named Babar and let this king of the jungle rule his house. Not the safest idea, but he doesn't seem to care. When Babar was first purchased, he weighed over 76 kilograms and ate more than 7.7 kilos of raw meat daily. Imagine his diet now, 2 years later. This lion lives in pure luxury with his own king-sized bed, double mattress, and air conditioning. Honestly, Babar might be living better than most people. Of course, having a lion as a pet is incredibly risky. If Babar ever acted on his wild instincts, it would spell disaster for everyone. But that doesn't bother his owner, who proudly tells anyone who will listen that he has a pet lion. Number 18, Jessica the hippo. Now, let's move on to a heavy note, or should I say a hippo note. If you've never seen a hippopotamus before, you probably know them only from board games like Hungry Hungry Hippos, animated films like Madagascar, or at the zoo. They might look like fun, hungry animals, but in reality, hippos are among the most dangerous creatures in the world. They can trample people, overturn boats, and kill with ease. That's why it may shock you to learn about Jessica, a very famous pet hippo. She was found as a skinny orphaned calf on the banks of the Blyde River in South Africa and taken to a rehabilitation center. This story could have ended in tragedy, but rescuers discovered that Jessica could bond with humans instead of following her natural instincts. Her caretakers gave her everything she needed to survive and even thrive. Jessica eventually became known as an ambassador for her species and turned into a tourist attraction in South Africa. Visitors can even pet her for a small fee. But here's the darker side. Another person in South Africa once kept a pet hippo, and one day, that hippo killed him. Jessica's story may be heartwarming, but it's the exception, not the rule. Number 19, giant python snakes can be tricky pets. With smaller species, the main risk is just a bite if you upset them, but some people want the biggest snakes possible. Apparently kids love giant snakes too, like a girl named Emmy who adores her reticulated pythons, Sunny and Cher. It wasn't love at first sight though. Her family got the snakes when she was only 4 years old. Now, years later, she has developed a deep affection for them. Sounds sweet, right? Except for the fact that these snakes are over 15 feet long and could easily crush her. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed our content, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. Also, check out some of the other interesting videos now appearing on your screen, and I'll see you in the next one. Until next time.